What's a strange phrase or inside joke your family used that turned out to mean something else entirely? Growing up, whenever we needed directions or were planning routes around town, my parents would always tell us to take the golden path. I never questioned it, just figured it was one of those weird family sayings like how some families have strange nicknames for everyday objects. We used it all the time. Don't forget to take the golden path to school. When you're going to the mall, make sure you take the golden path. It was basically shorthand for take this specific route we've shown you. My parents got super intense about it sometimes, especially when I started driving as a teenager. They'd literally map out specific routes for me. And if I ever mentioned going a different way because of traffic, they'd get this weird look and be like, Eliza, please just take the golden path. It was annoying TBH, but I mostly followed their directions because it wasn't worth the argument. Fast forward to college when I moved into an apartment with roommates. I naturally kept using the phrase without thinking. One day I was giving directions to my roommate Brinley about this new restaurant, and I told her, just make sure you take the golden path. She looked at me like I was speaking another language and asked what that meant. It was the first time I realized not everyone's family said this. I tried explaining that it just meant taking the safer route, even if it's longer. She seemed satisfied, but it got me thinking about why we actually use that phrase. When I called home that weekend, I casually asked my mom about it. She got weirdly quiet and then just said it was something my grandpa started saying, and it stuck. That explanation felt off. So when I visited home for Thanksgiving, I decided to ask my grandpa directly. He was usually pretty open about family stories, and I figured there might be some cute origin story. Like maybe he'd followed actual gold-colored signs on a road trip or something. But when I brought it up at dinner, the whole room got super tense. My dad actually interrupted before Grandpa could answer and changed the subject completely. It was so obvious they were hiding something, which obviously made me more curious. Throughout the weekend, I tried bringing it up again, but they kept deflecting. When I was helping my mom with dishes later, I pressed her about it again, and she finally sighed and said, "It's just safer, Eliza. Some things are better left in the past." Which was the most cryptic and unsatisfying answer ever, but she wouldn't say more no matter how much I pushed. I started paying attention to exactly which routes were the golden paths my family had always insisted on. I realized they all had something in common. They avoided certain neighborhoods in our city, specifically the north side. I'd always just followed these directions without thinking about why those specific routes were preferred. The next time I visited home, I was determined to get answers. I waited until my grandpa and I were alone, watching an old Western movie that everyone else had bailed on. During a commercial break, I straight up asked him why our family was so weird about the golden path thing and why nobody would tell me what it meant. His face got really serious, but instead of brushing me off, he asked how old I was now. When I said 24, he nodded like that was finally old enough. He lowered the TV volume and told me he needed to show me something. We went to his study, and he pulled out an old photo album. As he flipped through it, he explained that before I was born, our family had lived in a different part of the city. The photos showed a younger version of my parents outside a small house I didn't recognize. Then he flipped to newspaper clippings. The headlines were about gang violence in that neighborhood. I started feeling this weird knot in my stomach as I began to piece things together. Grandpa explained that when my parents were first married, they bought a house in what seemed like an up-and-coming area. But the neighborhood rapidly declined as gang activity increased. The particular gang in that area used gold as their identifier. Gold chains, gold spray paint for tags, gold rims on cars. My grandpa's voice got really quiet when he told me that my parents had witnessed something they shouldn't have one night coming home from dinner. Something involving several gang members and what appeared to be a deal gone wrong that turned violent. I felt like I couldn't breathe as he continued. My parents had anonymously reported what they saw to the police. A few days later, gold spray paint appeared on their garage door, a warning sign. They packed up and left that same night, moving in with my grandparents temporarily. After they moved to our current house across town, my grandpa started using the phrase, "take the golden path," as a coded warning to avoid areas where that gang operated. Over time, as the specific threat faded and I was born, it morphed into general family safety